Oh, well, hey, folks, how you doing? This is Supreme Heretic, a.k.a. Drew. What's going on? Hope you guys are having a great Thursday. And as promised, here we are back with the new season of the Pegasus Actual Podcast. We're on season 4 of BSG. We're winding down, and the story's getting good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's getting good until, like, a little bit later when it starts to jump the shark just a wee bit, but it's doing pretty good, and I'm very happy, of course, to have my esteemed co-hosts, Mr. Zach, aka Brightest Day, and of course the lovely sassy Southern Belle herself, Arwen Avalon. So good to see her.
Good evening, gentlemen. I missed y'all last week. I did.
Evening, where?
Yeah, I think on my little non-streaming week, I got extra sleep and whatnot. You know, of course, Zach was living it up in Vegas. You had a good time, didn't you, buddy?
That's putting it quite mildly, sir.
Yeah.
The video for that will drop tomorrow at like 4:45 Eastern, just before Friday Night Tights.
Mm-hmm.
Yay!
Not going to say anything about it before then.
Yeah, and allegedly, you know, from what we know about what happened in Vegas,
spending $150 million on cocaine would make sense.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, mercy.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm glad you had a good time, brother. I'm glad you got to meet a lot of people. I really wanted to go. It sucked because with what's going on with mom and the fact of we're just not in a position right now financially to really make it happen. So yeah, I was really bummed out. I had the blues last week big time, but I'm glad that, you know, I can kind of live vicariously through you guys, and the people that went had a great time. So that's all that matters, because I like to see my friends happy. And hail's
the priority.
That's right. Hail Zax, and hail Dadman Walking, and hail Tommy. Hail Tina Bojan. Great to see you, Tina. That's always great to have you here, my dear. You are awesome. And I know Adega is lurking around. Great to see you, Dr. Adega. My boy Lopter, Dr. Alex Stein, PhD. What's up, dude? Shane Nolan was in here earlier. He said, please give my best to Arwen and the chat. Aww. So Shane sent his greetings earlier because he couldn't stick around, and of course before that we had the aforementioned my friend the Wake Down was in here, and of course Tehillim 29, and so yeah, we've got a great turnout tonight. Of course, Ruth Korean the Bass is here, aka Tony. What's up, my friend? And I'm one of my favorite people. One of the best mods ever, Lady Mist. She's in the house. And same thing with Tommy pulling the mod duty tonight, man. Love you, brother. Thank you so much. Stephen Thompson, hail to you. And so, yeah. So we got a great episode for you. I know that God, dude, when I was watching this, man, even before you get to the opening credits, there's a whole lot to digest, isn't there?
Absolutely.
Because it's just
a lot into this episode.
It's just like, man, you're thrown right into this intense, like, whole combat situation and everything else. It's pretty great, actually. Mm-hmm. I really kind of love the whole Fast and Furious type of deal, man. You're just thrown right into it from the jump. And that's pretty interesting. So I don't know what your guys' vibe on that, but man, just starting off at the beginning when I was watching this, man, I was like, whoa,
Mhm. I
Yeah,
agree
I
completely.
definitely picked up on an overarching theme among many of the characters, and there's a lot of little things that go on. So there's quite a lot to pay attention to.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
hopefully we pick it all out in this discussion.
Yeah, I think we will. And just to let you guys know, if you had Hail Wookie, by the way, um, if anybody had any difficulties watching the stream from a couple weeks ago when we did our second part of the season 3 finale, now there was a copyright claim on there by NBC. They were a little miffed that we used a Battlestar clip, but it was a Battlestar clip that they themselves made public on YouTube,
Mhm.
and so we used it under fair use because it was part of our discussion with you in our chat and informing you and also pointing out the nuances of the writing and the set pieces and everything else, and I let them know when when they gave me the opportunity to go and dispute it. I typed out that paragraph and let them know exactly the context of how we used the clip. And NBC Universal was actually really cool about it. They released the copyright claim. So there is no claim on the second part of the season 3 finale from a couple weeks ago. You guys can watch that stream, and it is all good. So no
Yay.
no muss, no fuss anymore. So you can enjoy that. But yeah, Tommy, you are exactly right. The copyright claims really are flying around like mad these days. Uh, Tommy says, I got 3 on one live stream. Oof.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Gotta be
Well,
careful.
oh, yeah, Wookie, they don't like you. They just don't like you, Wookie.
To be fair, he's not giving them much room to not. He's not trying very hard to get a skirt under the radar.
No, Wookie says Wookie tells it like it is. That's why I like Wookie Supremacy, man. He's a good dude. Oh man. Hail the Catman, aka Dini Myers. Good to see you, brother. I hope everything's going well with you. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the discussion, guys.
All right.
Zach, if you want to go and lead us in, my friend.
Absolutely, Commander. Greetings, everyone. This is Season 4, Episode 1, entitled He That Believeth in Me. The episode and season open hanging from the same cliff we left Season 3. The fleet is surrounded by Cylons, and Lee is staring into the eyes of Kara Thrace, and a Viper looking new off the assembly line. He tells her that he watched her die, and she dismissively denies it, repeating that she has good news, that she's been to Earth, as the CIC and Galactica listens on. As those on board try to verify the new craft, squadrons launch against incoming enemy fighters, and Lee and Kara join the fray. Some of the fighters break through the defensive line, and as Adama barks orders at Ty, the Exo pulls a pistol and shoots him in the head. Or so we think, as we quickly see that the newly revealed Cylon is simply hallucinating. Saul snaps into action, and we see the remainder of every flyable craft scrambling to deploy. Anders and Tyrrell on the flight deck argue amongst the chaos about whether their Cylon selves will turn against the fleet. Athena, not gathering the full context, interrupts and offers a last-minute pep talk before Anders mans his Viper. Meanwhile, the women who have abducted Gaius lead him through the ship, heading toward an abandoned compartment. Their passage does not go wholly unnoticed. During the dogfighting, a damaged raider crashes into the tail end of Pixis, causing a chain reaction which destroys the ship, and 600 souls on board. A massive split barrage of missiles from the base stars forces Adama to divert Galactica's defensive ability to protect the civilian ships, ordering the squadron to handle the rest and counting on Galactica's toughness to take the beating. Amid the chaos, Anders tries to reaffirm his self-identity, accidentally over wireless. Missiles strike Galactica and the civilian ring ship Zephyr, damaging both. Celix intercepts a warhead heading for Colonial 1 just in time. As a raider locks onto Celix, Anders catches its tail and tries to destroy it, but his guns have seemingly jammed or won't fire. The raider turns end over end and locks eyes to eye with Anders, both unblinking. Suddenly, instead of attacking, the entire Cylon force retreats. The command is visibly confused, knowing that the machines had them dead to rights. Adama orders the fighters to cover their flank while the fleet begins jump prep. Tori suggests that maybe something's changed, but Ty feigns ignorance as Roslin questions what that might be. And that is our first break.
Okay.
So, Drew has stepped away for a moment, but that is a damn lot to have happened in the first 10 minutes.
Whew. I always watch this, like, I'll watch it once through and then I'll go back and take notes. The beginning of my note says, this beginning sequence, oh my God, with about 20 exclamation points. Man, I tell you, the very first time I ever watched this, when Ty shoots Adama, I just about came out of my chair, and it still has that same effect to me.
And there isn't really there's not a decent snap between the scenes. So it flows pretty quickly for him pulling and shooting to then revealing that Adama's still standing. There's no like obvious transition. So you're left questioning for a second, kind of like he is.
Yes, I'm going, what? And then when it snaps back and he's standing there and he's like, what? And yes.
And he gets him in the eye too, which is particularly.
I know.
Yeah.
There's something about the eyes. It's just with the brain and yeah. It's perfect. Oh, it's terrifying.
Yeah, they did, Tony. They spent a whole like you could tell the effects budget on this was nuts,
insane.
Mm-hmm.
And so what I was reading is, and this is a nice behind the scenes thing, is the what is it the what did I say it was called, the Pixar. Can't remember what it's called.
Oh yeah.
The Pegasus. The ship that is destroyed is actually like a compromise between some of the writers and Ronald D. Moore. I believe they originally wanted to destroy the Zephyr, which is the ring ship, but Ronald D. Moore loved that ship, so they destroyed another ship and just damaged that one.
Oh, okay.
Hail, Nerdporeal Lifeform. What's up, buddy?
Hail, Nerdporeal. Hey. Good man. We hung out a lot in Vegas.
Nice.
Also, excellent channel. I will link his channel, and when he gets back to producing regular content, you will be able to enjoy it.
Yeah, and just a reminder, folks, I believe over here we're at 6:55 on this channel. So, if you can continue to get the word out, let folks know. We're grinding. We're on the way. It'll take a little while, but we're on the way. I think I need about 2,000 or so more watch hours too, and then but I'm about less than 400 subs away and 2,000 watch hours. Yeah, I'll have monetization. But until then, folks, if you would consider anytime that you want to support or super chat, anything like that, you can use this link, because what this does for creator is the creator gets the money, which is the goal in the end, and YouTube is not keeping their draconian like 30-40% like they do when you send a super chat. So that's what is so cool about Stream Elements, and I highly suggest for those of you that are creators to look into this apparatus, because it does help, because they'll keep more like 5%, and you'll get like 90 to 95% of that tip, which is, well earned, and you should get that. YouTube just takes a lot off the top, and that's one of the things about YouTube that they don't explain to people in depth, obviously. So, for those of you that are creators in our chat, and for those of you, that have never used Stream Elements or looked into it, it is something good to look into. So, do look into that if you are a creator, because it is a very useful tool, and it does help you. And especially if you're not monetized, so that will help you weather the storm, per se. So so that is your way to super chat on our stream, folks, if you so care to. It's never expected. We're just very happy with your presence here tonight, and seeing all your virtual smiling faces in the chat contributing. So thank you.
Yes, please subscribe if you haven't. Smash that like button if you're still here, although we know that most of our audience is loyal and well loved.
Tony says you will notice from here on out, BSG uses a lot of reverse shots from older seasons to fill in effects gaps. A lot of the launches and ship shots are reused reverse shots from previous seasons. Yeah, that's very interesting, Tony, because the thing with thank you so much, Lady Mist. Oh, geez, you didn't have to do that. You're already modding, girl, but thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Drew, if I may suggest, you pin that link, or pin that comment. Yeah. And then it'll just be there. I understand the Stream Elements is running.
Yeah, I'll definitely pin that from now on. I'm not gonna pin it right now, but we'll pin it from here on out. But yeah, I did notice, Tony, that they do that, and that's common though, because God, I think every show that we've watched, sci-fi wise, at some point has used stock footage. God, even the old BSG, remember, they used to use stock footage like mad. Remember some of the Viper fights that they had?
That's what stock footage is for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's for.
Yeah, they were known in the 78 series especially to recycle footage. So yeah. All right, if you want to go ahead and continue, Zach, go right ahead.
Absolutely, sir. As Baltar is led to the woman's enclave, the woman Jean reassures him that he'll be safe. The door opens to what possibly could be Gaius's waking dream, a romantically lit room full of young, beautiful women and some men. Behind them, two men have stalked their travels. As Gaius walks the room, the people around him avert their gaze, and he comes upon a crude altar built in his honor, to which he can only utter, "Right." On the flight deck, Tyrrell eyes the length of Starbuck's blood-spattered but still pristine bird, and she tells him she needs her gun camera footage developed, claiming to have something great to show everyone. The entire flight deck gathers around her and stares at her hauntingly, before Lee runs up and hugs her. Ty, looking on from above the flight deck, asks Adama if he believes in miracles, to which he staunchly replies, "No."
Allegedly, this when Comics Division watched this episode, this was his reaction.
What? Oh my gosh.
Oh man, that's great.
Do you want to highlight Tony's comment, or should I continue?
Yeah, so Rookery in the base says, not gonna lie, the whole messianic figure cult lost me here. Did not see that coming. I would love for the panelists to set me straight. I don't know. You guys want to expand on that for a second?
Can I just, oh my God, guys, can I say something about when he first walks in to his harem and his soy boys? It was shades of Babylon 5 Byron and his telepaths. They're all lovely. They're all groovy. They're all waiting to be trained and spoken to. They're all damn gorgeous. And I'm like, come on.
Yeah,
So
well,
every single beautiful person on this ship decided to follow Gaius Baltar?
well, it was funny. Like the dudes. I was laughing because just like the dudes that were in there, like they see him walk in, like, oh shit, like they know, like forget it. My game's in the toilet because these chicks are just gonna be all over this dude.
One's putting his shirt on like, oops, I just had my hand caught in the cookie jar. Oh well, I'm done for.
Yeah, he's like those dudes are just like, they're just like, oh, we're gonna take the loss here, boys. We ain't gonna see no more ass for a lifetime now.
It's over. Oh, I don't know. I go back and forth.
It comes out of left field. It absolutely comes out of left field.
It does.
There's very little, if any, setup. It makes no sense. This kind of thing would have been shut down faster than the black market. Not that the black market was ever shut down, but you know what I mean.
All the candles and the picture they have of him with all the ornamentation. I'm like, dang, they're living good. What?
And you're going to tell me there's some miraculously not used space on this ship that nobody notices all these people in, that they're somehow getting supplies in and out of. Yeah, come on.
Yeah.
This is just like a temporary plot device.
Tony, I know, man, dude. Maybe we're missing the boat. They said you can meet. They say you can meet women at church. I guess that's the next level.
That being said, it's got Keegan Connor Tracy in it, and she is a gorgeous woman.
Mm-hmm. True that, my friend. True that. Yeah, they all were.
Even the little kid who ends up coming there is cute.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
all of them. Anyway.
Yeah. So, hail to the wake down. Speaking of, like the wake down that supplies all those good meme-ish clips. Thank you, sir. The wake down is in the house, so it's good to see you wake. It's my dude right there.
Wake down's a good man. Trying to move across the country. So, you want to help him out, let me know. I can drop the link to his GoFundMe. He's trying to get out of his bad circumstance. Well, like many people are.
Yeah, feel free, man. Drop it in there, Zach, anytime you want. But yeah, we can go on.
Okay. Anders reunites with Kara before she notices his flight suit. Thrace shouts to Admiral Adama that she's found Earth. Adama, however, replies by ordering Marines to escort her to sickbay, where Doc Cottle will give her a complete examination. We learn that Kara believes herself to have only been gone for 6 hours, instead of the 2 months it's actually been. Back in the commune, Jean tells Baltar that she's going to get her son, Derek, asking him not to go anywhere on the ship, since it clearly isn't safe for him. Jean tells him that Tracy Ann will be with him to give him whatever he needs. Baltar claims that he's praying for Derek, who is presently in Galactica's sickbay. When he asks about travel arrangements off the ship, Jean notes that security is far too tight to smuggle him off Galactica, while her associate Paula adds that none of the other ships will even have it. After the women leave, Six appears, and Gaius laments at potentially having to spend the rest of his days in what he calls a loony bin full of crazies. During the course of their talk, Gaius winds up on his knees in a prayer position, as one of the young women happens upon him, thinking him praying. She admits that her own prayers feel hollow, empty. Following Six's prompts, he coaxes the young woman to shed her belief in the gods she prays to, among other things, and toward the one true God. As he is slowly undressed, Gaius realizes he's alone in the room with the young woman. They sarcastically joke about the presence of God before making love in front of the altar.
Jeez.
She wants some of that Gaius sanctification.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Lady Miss, now whose mind is in the gutter?
Oh dear.
Oh,
my
Lady
God.
Miss. Wow. Wow. Oh, jeez.
Oh God.
Yep, that's where we're at tonight, guys.
Oh man, and this is not the first time that this show it takes regular trips to the gutter. Oh man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The two characters in the series that I really liked says Dadman Walking 55, Adama and the Doctor. Yeah, Dr. Otto was legend, man.
Oh, he is.
Dr. Otto was a
fantastic.
legend. He was great. No idea why Adama can't understand how it took Starbuck a season break to get her hair done. Oh man.
Oh no.
Rosalind is suspicious of Starbucks highlights.
My God.
Tommy said Drew is like that, always thinking of me. Jeez. Gomer Kyle 79. Hail, buddy. Great to see you.
Hail Gomer Kyle.
Oh my goodness. I love it though when Gaius is like, I'm praying for his recovery. He looks up. I just want to smack him.
Yeah, and I know we've beat this to death over the last few episodes, but this is where the entire Deus Ex Machina thing just starts to get like crammed down your throat, like with the quickness.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, though, and here's where I'm going to start to get a little analytical of the episode. This is yet another setup to a test of faith for Gaius. It's not the first, and I don't think it's the last either. But he's put in this situation where he's forced to look at the world around him and take things on faith, and then depending on his outcome, affects what happens to him and others around him.
Right.
It's weird. He's like one of these guys who always has the black cloud over his head, but yet there's always a silver lining right behind it. He slithers around that ship and in this universe, and he gets out of scrape after scrape after scrape after scrape. It's like, dude, what is your secret?
I know, right? It's like, man, you know.
And here's where I'm going to throw what I think is the overarching themes for this episode. One is, again, tests of faith, because there are multiple, and Gaius is not the only one that has them. And two is that anyone in this fleet that hasn't broken is starting to break. Everyone is going to go crazy or start to go crazy. Even Kara, who just came back, is going to be shown to start to go crazy as she questions herself.
Yeah, because like the world is freaking upside down right now, and the whole situation they were just in, where like you lost a fleet ship, and the friggin' another one heavily damaged, and they were about to die, and then mysteriously the Cylons broke off. So it's like the people are like probably shell shocked from the attack all over the fleet. And so man,
the scene that really kind of speaks to that about everyone's starting to break down, to me, excuse me, is when you really start seeing the struggle that all of them are having with okay, we're Cylons now. And it's like, it's one thing. Remember when we talked about how Ty was like, I'm Ty, damn it, this is who I choose to be. Yeah, I am the man. And it's like he makes that choice where he's like, this is who I am. Well, now it's almost like it doesn't matter if they choose humanity or not, they don't know what they're capable of doing.
Right.
Are they going to be programmed? Do they, to betray and kill their fellowship? What are they going to do? They don't know. They honestly don't know. And it's almost like it's not enough for us to make this choice. The choice may have already been made for us.
No,
I
they're
really got chilled when I watched their interactions. They're so nervous. I mean, they're going about business as usual, but you really see that pressure on them now, especially when the Cylons do turn away. They're like, well, crap, did they turn away because of us? Did they turn away because of Starbuck? What's going on? And you see that panic, especially, that scene where the Cylon is, eyeing down Sam, and it shows the Cylon's eye just fixed on his, and then it just flips and goes away. I'm like, oh, jeez.
Right, that
What
was
was
a
he
very,
thinking?
very well shot scene, very tense.
Ah,
Yeah, it was.
In fact, it was all in slow mo, and the show has very little slow mo in it, as far as I can
Beautiful.
remember. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
gonna hit the fan. So to speak.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because like everything seems like it's collapsing, and God, again, we talk about the relevance to now. Everything seems like it's topsy turvy around us right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So it's just it's like that same feeling. God, it's so like weirdly on the nose, man, when you're watching this present day.
Yeah. The fact that all four of them are questioning their identities, and in some cases, in Andrew's case, it's live over the wireless, like he's hanging up the radio, questioning whether or not he's a Cylon, almost giving himself away inadvertently. Anyway, it feels like a classic example of determinism versus free will, and it's this is a parallel to times like even back in season 1, where Gaius has a moment where his faith is questioned, and when he accepts his faith, it's rewarded by the fleet being spared. Not quite the same, as doesn't really have any direct result of Anders' actions. He's just kind of there, and he's recognized for what he is, and then the fleet is spared, but the parallel is there.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's crazy right now, just how this is
How it's all playing out. Yeah.
it is. It's very uncanny right now. Sci-fi used a lot of high-speed, blurred slow-mo. Yeah, I noticed that. I like the way that they shot a lot of the stuff, though. Even some of the ways that some of the creative ways they used recycled footage. This was actually done very well. Hail, New Bomb Turk, great to see you, buddy.
The opening, going back to the opening sequence, it's really interesting because the sheer number of base stars they were against should have been able to wipe them out nigh immediately. I believe a base star can hold something like 200 to 400 fighters. I forget what the number is, but it's in the hundreds of fighters.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
Massive waves of missiles, and they've got 5 of them. They have like rapid short jump capability. They could have immediately, if they wanted to, encircled the entire fleet, launched all of their fighters and missiles, and wiped everybody out in a matter of minutes. And there would have been absolutely no way to counter that from Galactica at all.
And they all know it.
Yeah.
They're like, what just happened? Why didn't they? What? I mean, all of them are, they don't get it. They don't understand it. And I think that's what makes Ty and all of them even more nervous and concerned and like, what the heck? And man, Rosalind, boy, she's honing in on Ty. When he's like, I don't know. And she's like, well, what do you mean? He's like, I have no idea. I mean, she is like watching him like a hawk. So
Right,
they are,
because right now he's like sitting there talking like Joe Biden. I mean, he doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's the only comparison I have it to. He's like, just blah, 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 blah,
Yeah. Tori, gives him a look. Like, I don't know if the character's thinking it, but it's almost like, well, you just shut up.
Right?
You're
You
talking to
don't even
yourself, and it's
don't even
supposed
attempt to lie because you can't do it right now.
Yeah, you can't even form words, dude. Just shut up.
It would have been one thing if he'd smelled like booze and they could have just attributed it to that, but nope,
Yes,
not the
yes.
case. You're just being an idiot. Shut up.
Shut up. Stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Oh, my goodness.
I'm gonna continue.
Yeah, go for it, man.
Okay. In Adama's quarters, Kara is told that all of her tests check out and she appears human. She then accuses the rest of them of thinking that she's a Cylon. Rosalind, who's present with Tori Foster and Lee Adama, presses her to explain how she found Earth and got back. Thrace claims that she followed a heavy raider into the storm, like we saw, taking some fire and then blacking out. When she came to, she was orbiting Earth, which she was able to identify from the descriptions in the Book of Pythia. Showing the pictures that were developed from her gun camera, she claims that the pictures are of Earth and its moon. Furthermore, she claims to have matched the star configurations with what was seen in the tomb of Athena. Kara claims that she doesn't know how she was able to find them at the Ionian Nebula, or jump back. Laura continues to press her for information, and Starbuck replies that she turned the ship to a reciprocal heading and later blacked out again. She adds that she remembers a planet with giant gas rings, a triple star, and a comet. Rosalind questions the time discrepancy, which Kara cannot account for, but continues pleading her story's truth. In the hangar bay, Tyrell shows Adama and the others the mysteriously pristine Viper Mark II, having just cleaned it. Testifying that he's been fixing this same bird for years, and despite its matching tail number, Tyrell says it is not the same ship that flew out 2 months ago. Furthermore, the navigational computer has no entries in it, no record of where the ship has been. Lee objects when the order is given to throw Kara in the brig, but the others discredit all tests and exams that say that she's not a Cylon. Adama ruefully notes that they're back at square one. Any one of them can be a Cylon, and they wouldn't know it until they had a bullet in their heads or led the fleet into an ambush. Rosalind notes that something has stopped the Cylons from destroying the fleet, and she believes that Thrace is somehow responsible for it. Further, Rosalind believes that Starbuck was returned to pull them off their course. Lee notes that they don't have a course, since they weren't able to stay at the Nebula. He posits that Kara may very well be the signpost they've been looking for, but Rosalind will have none of it. So here we have this very tense air of mistrust between all the senior command and a mysteriously returned Kara Thrace.
Mm-hmm. And interesting comparison that Tony brings up. Totally thought of the ending of Contact during this scene.
Right, there's a very similar. So it's not a spoiler alert for Contact if anyone hasn't seen Contact, but the fact that the main character at the end of that movie has footage that you can't, there's nothing on it, but there's so much of nothing that it kind of corroborates her story. Is the parallel to these pictures that Kara has that very clearly mark the information they're working with, but she has no way of explaining how she got it.
Yeah.
What
I don't know. Yeah. Go ahead, Arlen. I'm sorry.
Is okay when Adama and Lee were kind of having that conversation, and he asks, about Rosalind and her going back to her quarters or whatever. I wonder how Adama would react if Rosalind had been in Kara's position. Like if Rosalind, they thought she had died and then she came back.
Right.
Would he be like Lee? Because, Lee loves her and he wants to give her the benefit of the doubt so badly But then you've got Adama, who, I mean, let's face it, by this point, Rosalind's got him by the cojones, okay? She
Oh,
does.
got it. Yeah, she does, man.
And whatever Rosalind says right now, Adama's going to be like, honey, I got your back.
Mm-hmm.
So if the
Yep.
positions were reversed, and
Simp.
Lee never explores that, but yeah, yes, because Rosalind and Adama are basically one now.
Mm-hmm.
Her decisions are his decisions.
Yeah, and we alluded to that breakdown of the separation of the state and military.
Parrothead says there was a similar storyline in the 78 series, in the OG series. So
okay.
No, we'll actually, Parrothead, once we're done with this, remember we're gonna eventually get into the 78 series, because when we finish up this season, we've got the plan to do, and then after we do the show on the plan, after the plan, we'll get into the 1978 DOG series, and we'll start watching those, which are good in their own right to a large degree. So that'll be
excited because it's been so long since I've seen it. I'm excited.
That'll be it. I know, man. I want to see me some Lauren Green again.
Yes, exactly.
I haven't seen it for obvious reasons.
Oh, bro, the TOS Galactica it's cheesy, but it's great.
As a lot of things were in that time.
All right, my friend. I don't know. Do we have any other thoughts, or you want to go on?
I mean, we can pick that scene apart, but it's largely just an air of distrust and how the board has kind of been reset as far as Cylon identity, which opens up the tension towards the other four.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was the kind of way I think to logically, the way this was written was that they did it in that manner to kind of, like you said, reset it and sort of create that heat, so that there's all that tension. And I would argue, because this is a big problem I had with the show, was they didn't have to kill her off in the first place, but that was just that was me. I think they could have found a writing way around this to where they could have pulled the same thing off just as effectively, but I don't think that they had to kill her off.
Probably not, but it does, and this is a point that the show carries to this day. It does open up the ambiguity of what exactly Carathrace is from this point forward. I don't know if it's ever actually answered.
No, it isn't. And that was my problem with the finale. And like I said, no spoilers. We're not jumping ahead. I'm gonna try not to jump ahead here, but it's just I mean, that was the issue that I had when you get into season 4 with Kara, and we'll see it as it unfolds, because there'll be some interesting things to come with her character. But yeah, I had a big problem with the finale for this reason.
You're not alone.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to continue.
Ooh, hold on to those, Dad Man walking, by the way. Sorry about that. Go ahead.
You're fine. Baltar and Tracy Ann, both still unclothed, are awakened by the presence of Jean and the other cultists. Jean brings her son Derek, who was ill with viral encephalitis and cannot be treated with medicines. Baltar says that Derek has to be strong, and that the rest have to be strong for him. She says that she didn't want Derek to die in the sick bay, as he reiterates his claim that he's praying for the young boy. Jean wonders if the one true God doesn't want Derek to live after all, to which Gaius has no answer. In Ty's stateroom, the 4 secret Cylons discuss why none of them can hear the music in the ship any longer. Anders recounts his experience with the Cylon Raider scanning him, but they don't know what to make of the Cylon's sudden retreat, or Anders' inability to fire on the Raider. Ty remains adamant that Racetrack was right. Anders had made a dumb nugget mistake by leaving the weapon safeties on. They broach the topic of being programmed to sabotage the fleet, like Boomer. Ty vociferously contends that Boomer did not know who she was, and that they do. And they silently agree to kill themselves before they do anything against the humans. Rosalind visits Caprica 6 in the brig. She discusses the shared dream they experienced in the Opera House, where Caprica saw much more than she did. Laura asks her to help, with information regarding the Cylons known as the Final Five, since she wants to know if Kara Thrace is one of them. Caprica replies that they are programmed not to think of the Five, but notes that they are close since she can still feel them. In the CIC, Starbuck reviews star charts with a clearly aggravated Lieutenant Gaeta. Hilo relieves Gaeta as his temper flares. Kara notes that no one believes her, since everyone seems to think that she's a Cylon. In a conversation that begins to get heated, Adama overhears Thrace's reasoning that finding the star systems on their charts won't work. She tells them that she can find the way to Earth simply by feeling it, and that the more jumps they make away from their starting point, the harder it is for her to tell the road to Earth, because they're going the wrong way. Adama reveals that Rosalind is adamant that they continue the course laid out before them by the Eye of Jupiter. As they execute another FTL jump, Thrace experiences a headache and says they're going the wrong way, and that she fears she might lose the feeling completely. She asks for them to go back to the nebula, and while Adama would like to believe her, he can't simply go to Rosalind and ask her to dismiss the writings of Pythia and the information derived from the supernova on the will of Kara Thrace. He questions her on the condition of her ship, to which she has no answer. She swears to the gods that she is Kara Thrace and that he can trust her intuition. But Adama painfully replies that he simply can't afford to, and she leaves with her Marine escort. And there's our next break.
Yeah, it's very clear, that she's not going to get support right now. She's just not. Nobody and their brother trusts her for whatever reason, and it's like, I understand it, but like Lee's like the only one like that's kind of in her corner. That's it. And it's like because the old man is simping hard, and he's all about just like, yep, yes, Madam President.
Yeah, he is, and she's pretty much distrusting everything. She's going purely by her eyes, and he's having to struggle with his heart telling him, this is, for all intents and purposes, this is my daughter, Kara, but his head is like, no, look at the evidence. We saw her die. She was dead, and now she's back, and the Cylons have not attacked us, and she's trying to get us to go to Earth? What? And Rosalind is like, she's over it. She's done. She's like, nope. And even Sam, even Sam is like, well, she could be a Cylon because I'm one. He has that bit of information now, and he doesn't know what to think. Yeah, that scene between Adama and Starbuck was pretty heartbreaking to me.
Well, the thing is for me, like, it sucks because it's like, damn, it does make you feel bad for Kara because you're like, well, shit. But then, you're still in that kind of state where, well, maybe they might be right. Maybe she is, so you don't completely know, but you do feel sorry for her. And yeah, it sucks. I know for I know for sure you can see how conflicted, like you said, Adama is too about it because he's trying to rationalize uh, his feelings for her being his daughter against leveraging them against his love for Laura Roslin. And I'm sorry, right now, like, oh God, like for a little while, like the president's just, oh, she's so annoying right now. I mean, because she's like old lady Karen, and it's like, come on,
You're not wrong. Not wrong.
Oh my God, that's true though. That is true. She's got kind of a permanent stank face on her brain, for a while.
Well, I mean, and that's kind of what I alluded to before, is that those who haven't yet broken in the fleet are breaking or will break, and this is the end result of what happens when all these people have gone through all this trauma, and this is where they're at. You said the series was winding up, but I think we're winding up to winding down. I think it's just the spring is tightening to the point where it can't tighten anymore. And this pair of scenes, both in the commune and CIC, one, set up the test of faith that happens for Gaius in the next scene, and two, puts us in the middle of the test of faith for Adama and thusly Roslin, but mainly Adama, as he has to choose between the woman he loves and the daughter he knew, and the results of his choice and his faith affect the outcome of the fleet. Again, another parallel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly, brother. Exactly. And they're and they keep throwing a lot of those out there. It's like almost like, I don't want to say they overuse that card with too many different characters, but they kind of do. If you notice, overuse that card with too many different characters. Like, let's throw a test of faith at them. Let's throw a test of faith at them. It's like, come on, man. Throw a different pitch,
You could argue that that's the crux of the series. Like the entire series is a test of faith for humanity.
It is. But,
depends on what lens you look at it through.
Right. But, I mean, that's my opinion.
That's my opinion! That's my opinion!
I see what you did there.
I
see what you did there. Damn you, wake down!
Oh boy. I think what does it for me as far as Kara's return, and I mean, I could be biased because she's one of my favorite characters, but I was all for like, y'all are just a bunch of judgmental gas bags. Shut up and believe her. But the thing that gets me is her ship is new. I'm like, ooh, yeah, you can't overlook that. That's the one thing that has me go, well, Kara.
And not just you, but like every other person that sees it. Like, this is a factory new Viper. Factory.
Yeah. So anyway.
All right. Continue?
Yeah, go for it, brother.
Lee and William Adama are watching Lee's gun camera footage of Thrace's death near the mandala. The elder Adama asks whether he should believe his heart or his eyes, and Lee replies that he shares the same state of mind. Admiral Adama says he wants to believe Kara, but notes that Roslin is likely right, and that the Cylons may be counting on his belief. He adds that they'll follow the president's lead for the time being. Lee asks if Roslin's still staying in his father's quarters. Adama replies in the positive, noting that this is temporary until they can find quarters where she can wait for the remaining Deloxin treatments.
Sure.
Deloxin treatments. Adama thanks Lee for suiting up during the fight and offers him an unspoken apology for an earlier heated discussion about Lee's integrity. Adama offers Lee his wings back, but Lee notes that He removed them for the wrong reasons, and he's had feelers from the government who have offered him a chance to do more than he ever could do in the cockpit. He feels that Baltar's trial was a sort of trigger, but notes that he needs a change. After an uncomfortable, solemn silence, Lee asks what would have happened had Zack been in the cockpit, and it was revealed that he were a Cylon, and always had been. He asks his father if he would still love him, but the Admiral doesn't answer the question. And I think that's a very good time to pause, because that is a very direct comparison to a question you asked before, Arwen.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I held off on responding, because I knew that was coming. You asked if it were Rosalind in this situation. He asked something that's potentially even closer. And what if instead of your adopted daughter, it was your actual son?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. I didn't even think about that. I was just thinking, the romantic connection, and then, with him and Starbuck. But yeah, Lee. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't answer.
No, because how do you answer that? I don't know that you could come up with an answer to that wouldn't feel cold or like leave a bad taste in your mouth and hurt your heart.
Yeah, because
because it's kind of a gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And if he had said yes, I would still love you, then Lee could say, well, then what's the trepidation about Starbuck?
Mm-hmm.
If you could love me if I was a Cylon, then you should be able to love and trust her. I mean, there's no winning in that answer, yes or no. Because if he said no, of course it would break Lee's heart.
I want to address Stephen Thompson's comment, because I think that is a very, it's a divergence from what we're talking about. But this is exactly, if you can highlight his comment at 12 after, Drew.
Yep.
This is exactly why we should be doing shows like this, to show new people the shows that we love and why they're great, and get them to watch them. This is a great comment, and I'm glad you added it, Stephen.
Yeah, and that's an important thing to me, because, like, again, when this show was airing, in real time, I really had pride in the fact that we had the third largest fan site online, and ironically enough named Pegasus Actual. That's where we got the namesake for this show from. But this was a great science fiction program, and that's why, Stephen, I'm so glad that you're getting an opportunity to watch it, because this is good sci-fi. This is worth, as Brightest Day said, buying a physical media set of, because this is one of the last great science fiction shows, organically great,
yes,
on television, that happened, and before everything went to forced ideologies and wokeism. So, this is one of the things that you should hold dear, and for the people that haven't watched it, it is a really good watch. All the seasons, and even though the finale doesn't pay off in some of the ways that it probably could have done better, the show from beginning to end is well worth the time invested, and well worth the watch, and it's worth a rewatch, because it's very good quality, because this is the type of thing that you watch that you'll get something different every single time that you rewatch it. So so I'm thrilled for you, Stephen Thompson. I hope you have a very enjoyable watching of this series, and you're going to enjoy, because it makes our discussions, when you guys show up and participate in our discussions, when you're watching along and following along with when we do our discussions, it makes it that much better, because you guys can really add some cool points of view And I especially love when new viewers watch it and add that, because they have that sense of wonder from that first watch of BSG. So it's great. And Hale, wake down. Take care, buddy. Appreciate you, man. And hail to you, Stephen Thompson. Have a good night, my friend.
All right, I'm gonna try to rush through the rest of this act because I still have another page after this, or half a page.
Sure, go right ahead, sir.
Back at the commune, Baltar watches over Derek as Jean and the others sleep. He makes a decision to leave, but before he does so, he returns and prays over the young child. Gaius asks why God should choose to take an innocent life instead of his own, because he's failed so many people and brought so much grief to the human race, yet the boy has done nothing to sin against God. As he prays, the women wake up and stare at him. Jean also awakens and begins to cry softly, clearly touched by this display. After Baltar is done, he looks around and walks away. Later, Gaius and Paula walk through Galactica's oddly empty corridors, heading towards the officer's head. During the conversation, she says that they were all moved by Baltar's prayer. Gaius ruefully notes that it did no good, as Derek's sickness has become worse. She tells him that the prayer helped ensure that God looks after his immortal soul, which Gaius glibly snips at. He tells her that she shouldn't look to him for guidance, implying that they are young and easily misguided. Baltar asks what they're doing in the head, in reply to which she snaps out a straight razor, which he then uses to shave his beard. After he's fully shaven, Charlie Connor enters. He appears very cordial, addressing Gaius as Mr. President. Despite Paula's urging, Baltar strikes up a conversation with the man. He reveals that they met at Founders Day on New Caprica, where Gaius also met his son Kevin, who told him that he wanted to be president when he grew up. When Gaius asks about Kevin, it's revealed that he died at the hands of the New Caprica police during the Cylon occupation. Paula heads toward the hatch, only to be restrained by Connor's associate. As she's being restrained, Connor assaults Baltar and places the razor to his throat, demanding Gaius look him in the eye. And there is the act break.
Yeah. God, you know that actor, by the way, that plays that dude? That guy's really good at playing those kind of characters. Because, yeah, he does a good job of making you dislike him. If you ever notice that, like even when that guy has made cameos in Stargate, I hated him there too.
Yeah. But you know, when Gaius is praying, I wrote in my notes, I put sincerity ? But
Yeah.
I think I really feel like he is being sincere. It's like one of these things, because he's so slithery that he does things. Does he mean it? Does he not mean it? What's going on? But I think he really does in that instance. It's almost like he forgets everybody else is there. And he's genuinely like, I'm such a screw up. I'm having this moment of deep reflection here. And I've screwed up so much that this kid really is innocent. This kid's done nothing. He hasn't. So if you're going to take anyone, take me. I mean, am I off? Do y'all get that feeling that it's actually one of the few times in this entire series where we see Gaius having a true moment of humility and self-reflection?
I agree. I think when he's initially presented with this child that's sick, he has no faith. And it's not until the child is actually brought before him and he has a moment to reflect on it that he comes to terms with the fact that, yes, maybe it's time to have a little faith. Because he's powerless in the situation. Completely
Yeah,
powerless.
completely. And everyone's looking to him, but he's like, why are they looking to me?
Mhm.
What?
So
I
I
don't
think
know.
between offering that prayer, that prayer that since no one's awake, he's not going to get any credit for, even though he does. He doesn't know that when he starts doing it. And
Right,
then
right.
this conflict that he's thrust into, which we'll get to the conclusion of when we get to the next section. Uh, it's this act of self-sacrifice that rewards the faith he now has.
Yeah. And as much as I can't stand um, when Connor comes in and is like, hey, and then I'm going to kill you. As much as I can't stand that character
Mhm.
as a parent, if I had been in that situation, if I had been him and my child was killed under what I thought was Baltar's command, I don't know that I wouldn't feel the same way, to be completely honest with you. But because Gaius, and at any other time, I might have been like, okay, I'm kind of hate to admit it, but I'm kind of on your side, dude. But Gaius has this moment, this really humble moment, and it made me feel for him at that moment. You know, when he was being attacked, it made me feel like, no,
Right.
don't kill him yet.
Mhm.
No, not yet. You know,
Yeah.
it's a good
Yeah,
thing.
that's what I'm saying. Like it's so hard to tell with him, like when he's being actually like when he actually has a moment of epiphany and when, you know, he's just like, feigning ignorance.
It's
Mhm.
when no one's looking.
Mm-hmm.
It's when he's not going to get any credit for it, when no one's going to know what he did or the choices he
Right,
made. That's when it's true.
Yeah.
right.
So
That
this is
this
the
guy.
yeah.
Yep.
What's his name? Ryan what?
It was just there. Hold on. Ryan Robbins.
Yeah, Ryan Robbins. He's so good at playing roles that piss me off.
Mm. You need him. You need him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
working actor, you know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Getting it
Exactly.
done.
Okay, I'll read straight through this last page, and then we can go as long as you want. Connor tries to get Baltar to scream, asking if anyone would even come after him. The other man lifts Paula off the ground and begins choking her, as Connor digs the razor into Gaius' throat. Six appears and asks if he was sincere in his prayer. He replies in the positive, and begs that his life be taken instead. Connor becomes flummoxed, and Paula manages to break free and fight off another man with an improvised weapon, before knocking Connor unconscious. She continues to beat Connor until Baltar stops her. En route back to the commune, an exhilarated Paula says that she knew God wouldn't abandon Baltar, that she had felt his love course through her, giving her the power to smite his attackers. Gaius retorts that she should employ less smiting next time unless she wants to be brought up on murder charges. The two enter the Enclave to discover that Derek has fully recovered from his encephalitis. As the cultists look on, Six appears with a hearty smirk on her face. Elsewhere, in the memorial hallway, Thrace notes to Anders that no one has removed her picture from the wall. Anders tells her to cut Adama and everyone else some slack, since they're also trying to figure out what happened to her. She tells Anders that she figured her experience of finding Earth was a dream, and begins theorizing about the logistics of her return aloud, speculating that the Cylons may have pulled her out of the soup and brainwashed her, or managed to clone her from parts that were extracted from her during her time in the Cylon baby farms. Anders disputes this, saying that if she were a Cylon, that she's been one from the beginning. He professes his undying love for her, even if she may be a Cylon. She replies that he's more forgiving than she'd ever be, and that if Anders were a Cylon, she'd kill him. Galactica jumps again, and Kara experiences another headache. She insists that the fleet's going the wrong way. She claims that if she goes through one more jump, she'll lose the way entirely. Anders offers her a bunk, but Kara begins to believe that the only way to stop going the wrong way is to deal with Rosalind. She incapacitates one of the Marines. Then Anders knocks the other's gun out of the way before Starbuck incapacitates him. After Anders refuses to answer where Rosalind may be, Kara knocks him out. In the closing scene of the episode, Thrace heads to Adama's quarters, using a stun grenade to take out the Marine guards posted there. Rosalind, asleep in Adama's bunk, awakes to meet Kara's gaze, a gun pointed squarely at her head. And there's the episode.
Yeah. Wow. Powerful episode, man. This was the way to start out a season.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can't say that this season did not start out good, because this is just a killer episode. So yeah, I totally enjoyed this one for sure.
I want to. What I find interesting about Rosalind is, as hard as she is right now and distrusting of everyone, look at the one person she connects with in this episode is Six.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
When she's talking to her in the jail about the opera house, and they are connecting. She's trusting in what Six is telling her, and it's a sign.
Which is crazy, because there's all this distrust around whether or not any of the other crewmen can be Cylons.
Yeah.
And yet she harbors this secret with not one, but two other Cylons, known Cylons.
That's an excellent point.
Right.
That's
no one else knows about the
point.
Opera House. No one. No one that is sharing that dream space knows.
Yep. She's not telling Bill. Not sharing that with her lover. Yeah. And Sam, oh, come on. Do we really think Sam would have been so, I would love you even if you were a Cylon, if he didn't know he was one? It's almost like he wasn't telling her, and I could be wrong, but I got the impression he wasn't telling her that just to comfort her and just to, so what if you are, I still love you. I think he was doing that for his own self-validation.
I think you're correct.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that if he didn't know he was a Cylon, he would not have had the same reaction. And I don't see how I could believe otherwise.
Yep. And then her response is just so brutal. I shoot you myself. Oh, God, Kara, you don't know what you're saying, honey.
Mm-hmm. Right. And again, so that leads us to another small plot point, is that the secrets that are still held after all this time still drive wedges between people.
Yeah.
Not everything's out in the open, and it shows.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I love it. I think that's all that I have on my notes. I'm looking back through them. There was so
I mean, this episode to me, like I give this one like a 10. This was like a good one for me. I really, 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 really love this one. Just with everything, the way that it unfolded.
I'm going to give it a 9 just because of some of the small things that we discussed with the establishment of the cult and the overuse of the test of faith.
Okay.
But those are nitpicky points.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can put that aside. That's why I give it a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know this is going to seem like the Miss America pageant answer. Excuse me. I'm losing my voice. I will give it a 9 because of those things. I agree with Zach because of those, and those that he had mentioned that we kind of talked about. But just from the way it impacted me and made me feel and hit me with that, oh my God, I have to see more, I'll give it a 10 for that. So a 9 on one hand, but a 10 on the other.
All right. Join the 10 club with me. You go.
I no longer feel weird about my judgment for the end of last season, okay?
No, you don't have to. You're validated now.
So I will bring up one small other point. It brings back to what we talked about before, where everything is just twisting and compressing like a spring. and everyone's on their way to break, Kara finally breaks, and she jumps to decisive action. Let's loose the spring of all this tension, and plot goes forward. I think that's a great way to end this episode
I
and start
agree.
the season.
Yeah.
But that brings me to a question that I've been holding on to for a while, and this is kind of a general question. I want to ask the chat too. So this episode really feels like episode 3 of the end of last season. So on a general sense, would you prefer that a season opener continue the events of last season, or have a small time jump and start an entirely different story? I assume that it could be different for different seasons, but
I don't know. Like, to me, it depends. Like, for me, I think like I liked how they did this. I liked it. It continued immediately. So, you know,
Yeah.
because I think that's what worked well at the time.
I'm trying to think of other shows where I've seen where they've continued versus they jumped ahead in time. And I do think especially when things are mounting like this, I kind of liked how it continued.
right.
If
I
they had
can go
jumped
both
ahead
ways.
in time, you know, but yeah, I think it worked. In this instance, it definitely worked.
I think it depends on the season, the season and the series, because I believe what is it, in between 2 and 3 there's a time jump. So I think we get both of that. Between 2 of the seasons there's a big time jump, and I think that depending on the story you're trying to tell and where you are in a particular series, you could do either or. But I agree that this season opener should have been a continuation of last season. So,
And I don't like really long time jumps, like years. If you're gonna do a time jump, okay, fine, but keep it at least within the same mood and feel of the season ending. If it's too far in advance, that irritates me. But
Yeah, very true. But I think I think with them I think with the way that they did it, it was very effective. And this first episode, like, they knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. So that's just the way I feel.
Yep, I agree.
you know, one more quick thing about faith. Do you think this whole thing with Gaius, that they're setting up a different kind of, I mean, it's all about faith, but it's, you know how like in a lot of different religions and even denominations within religions, or factions, because not every religion has denominations, but they'll have different ideologies. It's like you've got the Baltar stuff going on, and you have the faith there, but then you also have the Roslyn situation, and you know, the opera house and the visions, and you have faith there. So you have the story of faith, but you have 2 different manifestations of it, or different representations of it.
Right.
And I'm wondering if that was a conscious decision on what to do, of why they took Baltar's story the way that they did. Because it's easy to kind of look at a cult and laugh at it and think, oh, those people are crazy. But to them, in the midst of it, it's still faith. They just may be believing in something different than this group over here. But it's all
Right.
faith.
Exactly. You know, and I know, and it's like I said, it's super interesting, and I think a lot of the chat gets it. Dadman Walking, I know, agrees with your assessment of Gaius. The Korean says it was intense but confusing. That not until now, after hearing Brightest Day's explanation, I have a bit better of an understanding on the faith issue. Maybe it's because I was already Christian. And, you know, I totally get that. And, you know, that was a good thing about this show. I mean, I felt like, as a person that's like Catholic, watching it, and, you know, it doesn't really, it challenges the way you look at things, you know, the polyatheism versus the monotheistic point of view. and I thought that was kind of fascinating, to be honest. So throughout the entire show, you know,
So I've been pondering your question, Armin, and I still don't have an answer. I don't think it was a conscious decision, but I can't find anything in my research that says whether it was or not. But that's a very interesting point, that you have what is essentially the same, we'll call it the Cylon religion, that's being manifested through different characters in different ways. It's a very, very good observation.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the wise ginger. She dropped a good nugget right there, boy.
Yep.
Dadman Walking says, in fairness to Baltar, there were many episodes I wanted Leah Dama. Shout out to Airlock too.
Oh, totally.
Oh man. Was there an example of something happening in history where humanity moved from polytheism to one true God? Oh, wait.
Maybe.
Yeah. Slightly. A little bit. Oh, man. But, you know, God, this show, just watching the show now, it's just so relevant because there's still so many things in the show that parallel what's going on right now. It's eerily similar to some things. And then when I see those fucking Boston Dynamics videos, man, it's like, good God, I'm expecting to see like it's like that scene from Caprica where they do the combat trial of the Centurion.
Mm-hmm.
And just going through all that. It looks like a Boston Dynamics video. I'm just waiting for them to build a silent Centurion at this point.
So on that note, on my flight down to Las Vegas, I started to read the second Galactica novel. I'm starting to read ahead of it, and it's set before the first Cylon War even breaks out. So we're getting into exactly what you're describing with the development of those models.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You know, the only thing that sucked about this show that I missed was the old. I wish they would have had the Lucifer models, the TL models, some version of those. That would have been cool. Because that was one of the things about the old show that I liked. Like the Lucifer bots were awesome, you know, because it was always like snarky and always like cracking on Baltar, you know. So it was great, man. The Lucifer bots were awesome in the original. So yeah, that's why there's certain things about the original that are just very homey and that can't be replaced. But yep. I guess at this point, folks, we're through another discussion. So I will go around and let these wonderful people tell you where they can be found, what they got going on. And I urge you to support definitely Brightest Days channel. We got to get this man continued support, continued subscribers. And also, you know, let's get him to monetization. And of course, when Arwen moves forward with doing some content of her own, we're going to get behind her the way that we get behind everybody. And that's going to be awesome. So, you know, I definitely appreciate everybody here continuing to come and watch us every Thursday night, man. You guys really are awesome. And without you guys in the chat, there is no us. Remember that for sure. So without further ado, tell them where they can find you, Zach.
So I've just posted mine and Arwen's links in the chat. Tomorrow, before Friday Night Tights, my Las Vegas compilation video will drop at approximately 4:45 Eastern time. It will be a premiere, so I will be there. There will be a live chat. Please come watch it and chat with me and go over the 4 some odd minutes of footage that I have. It was a great time. I'd be happy to relive it with you guys. I know you all saw me in some of the streams and some of the chats, but it was different to be there. As far as my channel goes, I will be very busy. I'm going to start ramping up the content and taking a new direction. I'm going to add 2 reading streams to my week, and I'm going to rename the segment Booked with Brightest Day. I still have the first Battlestar Galactica novel. I will be adding a reading of Dune, the first book, in preparation for the movie. And I will be adding a read of YouTuber Kai Makes Fun Stuff, or Kai MFS. He has a book called Space Crime Domino, which I will link to the chat when I'm done. I will be reading that book since I have now a signed copy, and that will be a regular segment where I will have 3 reading streams throughout the week. Sundays, I am bringing back the open forum. My first interview will be with YouTuber Max Von Priestley, who I met at Vegas, who is a very, very talented man who is going to go very far very quickly. Comics related stuff, so if you're into comic books, he's going to be a channel to watch out for. I will try to get back to my Gunpla build stream on Tuesday, and then I will be on Etepalkunian's stream Wednesday night, and next Saturday I will be on Lorena Creel's lunch hour, and I believe it's 4:30 Eastern. So I have a very busy week coming up. Hope to see you guys there.
All right. Thank you, sir. And now we go over to the wonderful lady of the panel, the saucy redhead Arwen Avalon.
Short and sweet. Yes, you can find me on my channel. I still don't have anything uploaded, but I've got some ideas in the works, so we'll see what happens. You can find me on my Twitter, and I believe it's September 3rd. I'll be on Lorena Creel's channel for her lunch hour, her Friday 12 o'clock lunch hour. So right now, that's just what I have going on. And that's
Yep.
it.
And of course, she'll be
and
back
here. Yes,
Yeah.
here.
She'll
And
be back here
please-
next Thursday.
Yes, and I love this. Y'all are become family. I really genuinely missed last week. I was just sitting there on Thursday night. I was like, oh, I miss my boys. I do. I miss it. And I just love this so much. I'm looking forward to doing the rest of this season, and I really am jammed to get into the original because it's been so long since I've seen it. And I remember, I was a little kid when it
Mhm.
first came on, and I loved it. We watched it. It was like all the neighborhood kids got together and we watched it when it
Yeah,
came on.
we're
and
we're
it's-
gonna have
Yeah.
we're gonna have a ball with it,
I'm
and
so
I'm anxious to be watching that with Zach because he's gonna have a good time with it too. So
definitely
So,
good
yeah.
old 70s camp science fiction. I'm
that's right. Sign me up for that. It's like having a nice bowl of fresh mashed potatoes when you ain't had mashed potatoes in a while.
That's right.
Good old mashed potatoes and gravy, man. So, yeah, thank you so much for the compliment, Lady Miss. And thank you so much for the tip. And thank you for being a great mod. Always supporting in some sort of way. Lady Miss, you are just a wonderful and loved member of this entire community, this entire group of friends. You are a friend to all of us, dear, and you're amazing. And we all love you. And that goes for all of you in the chat. We all love you too. You're awesome. And, remember, folks, I don't ever look at you guys in the chat that support the content here as fans. I look at you as, friends and family. And that's the way we all need to look at one another, So on that note, take care, folks. Have a great night. You can catch us here next Thursday as we get into episode 2 of season 4. Also, on Wednesdays, catch me on the Black Pill stream on Bounding Live. I'm on there with our associate editor, Spencer. Usually my boss, John F. Trent's on there. It was just me and Spencer yesterday, but, usually we're all on there. And then, of course, on Tuesdays, you can catch the Rogue Squadron here with me and Etep, Benny, and good God, a cast of thousands, Steven, where we just get off the hook.
Y'all get spicy.
Because it's no holds barred, man. We talk about
it
it all on Tuesdays. Yeah, it's just no holds barred. So if you enjoy that type of talk, come and check the Tuesday streams out. Rogue Squadron. Those usually happen about 6:45 or so p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So catch that on Tuesdays. And you can read me on boundingintocomics.com, of course. I am working on an article. I'm going to be posting a video game review of the latest Madden football game, Madden 22. which I streamed earlier today. So if anybody wants a sneak peek of Madden, go back through. You can see that I streamed earlier this afternoon. You can check that out. And my article will be up tomorrow with the review of the game and the score. So, yeah, you check it out. So until next week, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. So say we all.
So say we all.
Say we all.
They think it's right to murder. They want to murder. Look at all the people, and they get a kick out of it. A sexual kick out of it. The whole thing, I think it's sick. 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 The whole thing, I think it's sick.